Welcome to episode number 130 of the BEBC
BS
Podcast. 130. That struck me when I changed the board here a minute.
We're getting old.
It felt like number 100 wasn't that long ago.
I know.
You know, we just sat down with everybody. And
every season we got at least 10 episodes.
Well, yeah, and we had, 14 last year? Well, we have more than that, but 14 football episodes.
Yeah.
But they just keep piling up here.
We got to give, we give love to basketball, we give love to football. We need to get some more
love.
We need to spread the love.
The chess team.
The chess team.
Yeah. The tennis team.
You get that
tennis
the way
team.
we root.
Tennis team.
What about the fishing
team? Out their mind.
What about the shooting team?
Yeah. I mean, we see that big trailer they've got with the awning and stuff. That's a nice setup.
What about the curling team?
Do we have a curling team? We have a bowling team.
Figure we would.
Oh, yeah. Our bowling team kicks
balls.
Hello.
The goat herder team. He's right over here.
Yeah, we need our FFA people to come in and tell us where Allen went wrong neutering his goat last week.
What's your best goat story?
We got a lot of good feedback on that, by the way.
Oh, man.
And our views were up last week. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe that FFA talk is
probably because we're on the verge of getting arrested and people.
Maybe it's all the Plano East people scouting for the next game.
Professor Diggs actually watched our podcast.
Oh gosh, he's up so late doing the dump and all that stuff. He's sleeping the rest of the weekend.
You know, Plano East is up next for Allen. Allen wins 63-16 over McKinney Boyd. We'll get into that and call Coach Wig here in a minute.
We did not have a shirt out.
No, we did not. Plano
I'm
City
sorry.
Tennis. A shirt out? Oh,
a reveal.
I know what you're talking about now. I made a boo-boo yesterday over my text messages, and the wrong word was spoken.
Well, at least it was in private, never to be released.
Well, Hargis has that on me now if he wants it. But,
not a bad thing.
what was I going to say? I was going to say something now. It just went.
About the game?
No.
Oh.
We need, before we get into everything else, we need to do a little cleanup from last week.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And this goes back to...
Oh, the podcast I was not there for?
Yes. Did you listen to it at all?
I did.
Okay. There was a lot of discussion about where the Eagles played at what point in time.
Yeah.
And so we had our Allen historians, Randy and Jill Bridges, who actually sat with us last night. So we got some more feedback on that. But Allen was talking about playing across from the Baptist church.
Mm-hmm.
And Jill said that was prior to when she even moved here in she said it was 1964. It was earlier than that. Okay. But there was a stadium where the practice fields are at Lowry now. Not where the double wide is. But she said the double wide opened, but it wasn't a full double wide at that point, 1975. So that's when the double wide opened. So they started playing there then, and then it got expanded a little bit over time. So in Central Expressway, resident expert Nolan was saying Central was built in the 70s. Well, Randy said it was built here... Or he said it was built when he moved here in 1970, and Jill told me last night that her father worked for the Texas Department of Transportation, and he was the engineer on
59?
Yeah, 1959, and it was built all the way up to the border.
Oh yeah,
at that point.
Yeah,
and in fact, the Ridgeview Bridge, which they just tore down and redid, was the last original bridge.
Oh wow,
under his design, and from when he built it back, they built it back way back then.
Yeah.
So
Stucky's down there too.
Yeah.
Eat here and get gas.
Randy sent this message to all of us. He goes, before the double wide was built, Max Bond, the principal, would occasionally mow the old football field.
Okay. A little Forrest Gump action.
Yeah. He goes, if it was high when he mowed it and had big grass piles, he would get a bunch of us guys out of class to rake it. He goes, Have you ever raked a football field? It takes a while.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
So if you could imagine, not only doing that, but the rakes in 1970 were probably those old metal ones.
Oh yeah, metal time rakes. Yeah.
It probably did take a while. Randy said, Coach Jim Clark, who we mentioned last week, he lives in Whitewright, Texas, with his wife Gail, who was my Anglish Anglish teacher.
Right, Anglish.
And Jill's drill team instructor.
Nice.
So,
all right, so we need to go set up a podcast and tailgate up there in his front yard.
in Whitewright.
Oh boy.
So that kind of clears up the question on where the Eagles were playing at what time and when Central was actually built, for those who were screaming at us. Just said, you should have seen me and Randy yelling at y'all how stupid you were. I said, you got the balding eagle who was the last one to move to Allen, trying to explain the history of Allen.
Last one to move to Allen, one with the most hair coming out of his ears.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I was just laughing. Yeah, we had a good time listening to you guys making fools of yourself. I said, that's why we told you to let us know. So, there's the clarification on all that mess.
That's right.
So, we figured that out. The 130th game for the Allen Eagles. We're still in 1973. Played the great Metropolis team, Pilot Point. What's their mascot? Anybody know?
The Pinheads.
Pilot Point?
Pilot Point Pinheads. What is it?
I have no idea.
Pilot Point Ponies? The Pilot Point...
Man, I know this.
You should. You're that Salina.
The Pilot Point Puffins? The Pilots...
I like the Puffins. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Ooh, same as Sherman.
Bearcats.
Bearcats.
Princesses?
Bearcat princesses.
Bearcat. What is a bearcat?
I don't know.
Like
I just kept saying
an
Bobcat
angry wombat?
over and over and over again. So the Bearcats. They played the Bearcats. They defeated the Bearcats by the score of 6-0. 6-0.
No kidding.
Can you imagine if
Last night was a sleeper.
Yeah.
Wow.
They go to 2-2 on the year. Here's something I want to bring up, which we haven't been doing. At that point in time in the history of Allen Eagle football, their winning percentage was .4231, so they're under 500.
Oof.
So they're 52-72 with 6 ties.
Little did they know, years
Little
later,
did they know.
Allen would be on top.
The 130th victory. We go back to 1983. Woo! Where are we going here? Seagoville.
Wow.
It's crazy who they played.
That's a lot
Is
of
that
driving.
southeast?
Yes.
Seagoville. Okay.
Seagoville Southeast. And they beat Seagoville 24-7 to move to 9-0 on the year. 9-0.
9-0.
Some parallels.
Those were the days.
Yeah, they're 9-0, and they've 17. Hang on a minute. Okay, 24-56, and they've given up 63 points in 9 games.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4 shutouts. Pretty good stuff. 4 shoutouts. Did you hear that, Hargis? 4 shoutouts.
4 shut-ups.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Going to history. Well, the district title was secured last night.
100%.
There's
Which means home field advantage for the first round of the playoffs.
you get to play Louisville at home. So now we know where we're at on that. So for the 3rd straight year,
We can play the good host.
well,
And instead of a neutral location, which was a rainy Clark Field last year down in Plano.
okay, we were home team, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Which was weird, sitting on that side of the
Very
stadium.
strange.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Allen wins 63-16. We were kind of talking last night after the game. I was like, "What are we going to talk about?" And you think about 63-16. There should be a lot to talk about, and there might be. We just got to dig deep, and figure out how we want to talk about it. I'm going to be interested to see what Wig's
Yeah.
Well, thoughts were.
I'll say one thing. The running game, which I know a lot of the coaches, they love to get a good balance in there between pass and run. Don't want to have to depend on one or the other. But it seemed like all the early runs were interior runs, A gap primarily, maybe B gap, either side of the center, either side of the tackles or the guards. And it seemed like they were challenging the offensive line. Make the holes. And it's usually pretty tough. I mean, even in high school, to really blast the team off the ball. It's not like we're doing Trinity offensive line blocking where they are just 90% run and those kids are just blowing them off the ball. But seemed like a lot of testing. I don't know if that was obvious to you guys or what else you saw.
Well, I mean, normally, a lot of times we would try and get to the outside a lot. They weren't doing that.
All right. We did a couple of the pitches. Love that tunnel screen. Man, that's money. That is money.
And it seemed like they were beating their head against the wall. The first couple series, trying to run between the tackles.
Yeah.
And you were like, okay, that's kind of unusual for Allen. What's going on?
Yeah. They're either experimenting or,
The one big change you saw this week was instead of going horizontal with the passing game, it was all vertical.
Yeah.
It was all vertical. There were very few tunnel screens to the sideline. It was
bubble screens, swing passes, all that stuff.
We can go downfield on these guys.
But I tell you that. So the comparison, the compare and contrast on that was, one of the previous games was it Plano West? We were just tearing that screen apart. I mean, they were running it one after another after another after another. Not necessarily all the same kind, but I kind of like that. Where we're just going to jam it in your face. We're going to do every kind of screen, and whatever works, we're going to do it again and again and again until it doesn't work anymore.
I don't know what the scheme was that they had, but, going across the middle in upfield last night, the guys were wide open.
Yeah.
I mean, yards wide open.
So Cody and I were talking before the podcast and talking about percentages and Brady. Well, he was, 57%, but if those four passes, something
like 4.
Obvious
three.
Obvious easy catches.
Yeah.
He's up in the 60, high 60s, low mid 70s percentage wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kudos to him. We kind of tend to shy away from giving Brady accolades, because we don't want it to go to his head. Number one, and he's good. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. He's got what it takes and get it close to being catchable. And
if you've got a quarterback throwing at 70% with a low interception rate, that's just pretty good.
He had one last night, right?
He had one, and I'm still
almost 2.
Trying to decide if that was Carter Harris's mistake or what, because Carter, he didn't even know where the ball was.
I don't. Yeah, it seemed like he got jammed and couldn't make it out to the spot that Brady was throwing to.
So, again, it's against a team like this, that's not going to hurt you. You certainly don't want turnovers.
It was also a ridiculously athletic interception.
Dude
went up with one hand and tucked it. Bro, it was really impressive.
That was.
Yeah.
Well,
of course, everybody on Allen's side I was going. I even saw Brady standing back.
Yeah, he was out there going like that.
Yeah.
50 yards away.
No, can't get away with that one, son.
You just have to be a coach on the other sideline.
Yeah.
Work.
Well, and that was the thing. It was the longer downfield passes that were just thrown into double coverage, and our guy wasn't even out there in front.
No. You averaged almost 8.5 yards, completion last
So
year.
what we need is a quarterback that can underthrow it appropriately to our receiver.
But if
we had one of those.
Yeah. If I would have told you, or if I would have asked you after the game how many rushing yards Allen had, would have you come up with a number? I mean,
I would have guessed 300, 250, 300.
Really?
Yeah, it was sitting there on the
It
screen
seemed like
across from us all night. So
it was. But
I wasn't even looking at that.
You look down and you see 311 yards rushing, and you're like, again, and the average, 10.37 yards per rush.
Yeah.
The numbers just kept adding up and adding up, and the scoreboard just kept adding up and adding up, and you're like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Where last week against Prosper, they said over 400 yards offense last week, but the points didn't come. This week you have 500 yards of offense and the points came. So
between Mackay and Linden, they were killing it, man.
It is time to call Coach. He's probably wondering why we're late, but he can wait on us here.
Call the couch.
One ringy dingy.
answer.
Hello.
Hey, Coach.
Hey,
Morning.
We are
Excellent.
saying good morning to the district-winning coach of the Allen Eagles, Lee Wigginton.
Yeah, good morning.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
That's your first one here in Allen.
Yeah. I guess
First
so.
of many.
Yeah.
First of many.
Yeah,
So now there's an expectation you put in place now.
Oh,
that's
stop
right.
it.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on a big win over Boyd.
Yeah.
We were reminiscing or discussing and trying to figure out what we were going to talk about here, and I almost said to myself, we just ought to let Coach Wig talk about whatever he wants to talk about, not even ask him a question and see what he'd say. So,
Yeah.
what was your assessment of the game?
I mean, proud as always of the way they can continue to compete and you, or at least a lot of us can take for granted that that other teams practice and the game means a lot to other teams, and these guys, you could see that this team that we're playing on film and even in pregame, I think they're well coached. They do some things that they really, you can tell they really work with their kids. Again, even going to just things throughout the hour and a half leading up to the game, and I was proud of the way for their team, the way their kids went out there and fought and made some not some things difficult schematically by any stretch, but just put up a good fight. And early on, we probably on both sides of the ball just I don't know how to say this other than just say we weren't handling them like I thought that we should, just physically. That's a tribute to them, and we had some offensively we were way more sloppy than I want us to be. We had ton of penalties for us, a ton of penalties. For a lot of people probably right about the average, but for us a ton of penalties. We had drop passes, which just are not a part of who we are. We had some missed reads here or there. We had some missed throws here or there. We had a bust, probably two busts the first half, which again, not catastrophic for a lot of people. It's just we take a lot of pride in being right, and it just was not offensively. It was just not what we want to be. It was not the clean, efficient offense that we want to be. And you say that, and without when you have that, it would be real easy for the guys to get frustrated or disappointed, and again they just keep battling, and took some drives that were ugly drives or some ugly occurrences, and found a way to get it to the end zone. And defensively, about early on, came out and really did some things that we were focused on, trying to improve upon and make plays on, and did those well. It was really exciting to see Japri get an interception. That was something that taking a lot of pride in defending that, and that was good. And then they started putting a drive or two together. So it was just in all three phases. Kickoff, they got a return against us early that we just didn't have two places. We just didn't fit it out well. So there were just some things that we didn't do, I guess, to the expectation that we want to do it. But with that being said, again, you can overcome a lot of sloppiness at times. You can overcome a lot of human plays, right? Because you are human, and you're not going to be the level of perfection that I want it to be at all times, because you are human and you're going against humans that are trying to be perfect on their end. And, but you can overcome lack of perfection with phenomenal, fanatical effort. And they do that, and they do that over and over. They play the game the way it's supposed to be played. You're never going to look on film and say, what on earth was he doing there? Other than, we messed up, but it's not going to be because of an embarrassing effort, and those things can overcome some poor play. Right. And I think that's ultimately how I would summarize it. We didn't play flawless by any stretch, but I'm so proud of the way they play the game, and found a way to get stops and found a way to get the ball in the end zone.
Yeah. And even with the flawed play, we're not going to have any Mike Leslie tweets saying, what was he doing on that play?
Well, and I was about to say that exactly. You're just not. I don't think you're just not. You're not going to look at it and say, did the guy just stop? You just they just play hard.
Quit beating yourself up, Coach. We love you.
It's one thing that we've been watching Allen Eagle football, for a long time.
Yeah, a long time.
And one of the things that we've said over the years about certain teams, and it's just a saying, and it's quit playing with your food. And the one thing about this team I think we've noticed this year is you look back and there's no instances of that. There may be a game like last night where we saw the exact same issues, flaws, whatever that you saw, but it wasn't a playing with your food situation because they overcame all that, and you look at the end and you got 63 points on the board and you're winning by 47. So there's a difference in the attitude of this team compared to some others that we've seen over the years that would come into a game like this and they'd win 38-24.
Yeah.
And it may go back to what you're talking about, the effort they put in.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. I obviously wasn't there and haven't been watching those games that you guys watched, but and I, again, I know people probably think that we just say this, but the McKinney Boyd week is the same as the Prosper week to us, exactly the same, right? Because it's never going to be about them. It's just not. For us, it's about a level of execution. And I just believe, and that's why we're that way. I believe that when you focus on that, you don't allow yourself to come out and play with your food. You don't allow yourself to have those moments because it's not about we've got to get up or down for this play or up or down for this opponent. It's because every play the expectation is we're going to be perfect. And it's practiced that way, and the expectation is we play that way. And when you do that, it's. Again, when we're going to the sideline, we're going to celebrate, and I want to jump up and down, and I want to be excited when things happen. But there's a whole lot of fixing going on after, a 9-play touchdown drive, that are very frustrating fixes because that play or 2 or 3 or 4 sometimes last night plays on that drive weren't who we are, I think when you allow yourself to truly be that way every single day of practicing in games, then it's a lot tougher to have lulls in an entire game, and this was a game that, again, especially offensively, we just weren't as clean as I would like us to be. And like you said, you say that, and we only had 12 drives, and again, for us playing whatever, I'm not going to say poorly. It wasn't that we played poorly. We just didn't play clean throughout, and that's hard to do anyway. But that's the expectation we have, and we with 12 drives get have whatever it was.
Yeah, and that's a lot. That's a lot of series. If you go up against a ball controlled offense like a Trinity or somebody like that you're going to get maybe 5 drives, 6 drives. It's much more meaningful, much more important. But
no doubt.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a good point, because if you think about it, in a game like last night, when like you see, if you had 12 drives, you scored 9 touchdowns. So that's a pretty good percentage, and win a lot of games. But what stands out, because it's not what the expectation is when things don't go like they should, like when a quarterback underthrows a receiver who's wide open, or a receiver drops the ball, or you get a holding penalty. Those are the things that end up standing out, at least to us. We're like, okay, it wasn't crisp, and here's why.
Yeah.
Because you've set an expectation that those things aren't going to happen.
Yeah. Well, our belief, the way what they hear every second, every day is that, games are won and lost by one play, right? And the way we coach offensive football is that one of those is going to lose it. while one of those on the other side is going to win it. Now, you don't know when it's going to occur. You don't know if it's going to be a drop in the first quarter. You don't know if it's going to be a false start in the first quarter. You don't know if it's going to be an underthrown ball in the first quarter, a bad read, whatever. But that play is going to be the play, and again, it's the pressure that we want to put on them throughout practice. Again, just understanding that there's not an opportunity to have those things. We do that, and again, I want to stress this, that we know that we're dealing with human beings, that if they were perfect, there would be no need to coach. There'd be no need to call play. You just roll it out there and say, go be perfect. So we know we're flawed humans in everything that we do, but at the same time, the expectation is that that's how we have to perform. And we just had a lot of those things that you could point at and say, that will be a drive killer, and that will be, a play that is tough to overcome at times throughout the year. So you just get a lot of stuff that we'll be able to really focus on cleaning up. But again, what you don't see is them hang their head because of that play, because of who they are. Who they are is they're going to say, yes, that's right. And then they're going to come right back. The same guys across the board. I can point over and over to different guys that had really poor play throughout, and they're what they would say, and then they came back the next play and played it at a great level. You're not seeing it carry over, which I think again is a sign of a mature, championship-minded team.
Yep. And from my perspective, I'd almost say rather not play flawless at this point in the season. That you kind of get complacent if you're doing that, or there's a chance of it, and I just maybe it's superstitious on my part.
Well, it's good. I mean, and again, I'm not going to sit here and say, I agree with you. I'm really glad that we did some things poorly. But what is good is when there can be a victory and a lot of learning opportunities, right? And that's what you're really saying, and that's very true.
Very true.
Because what we all know is that I think the best of teams sometimes improve the most after a loss, right? And I think that the challenge for teams, and I think it's how teams you can see dips, is if they don't carry that same mindset into victories, right? If they start feeling good and patting themselves on the back, that's the world that you start getting big-headed or overconfident. And as long as, again, it's not about a final result come Saturday morning. It was on Friday night, but come Saturday morning, that final result is just for people to talk about. For us, it's about the play after the play after the play after the play, and take advantage of those learning opportunities.
Yep. Before we forget, and I know you don't do this for accolades, but congratulations to you on being Dave Campbell's 6A football coach of the week for your last week. So we did notice that. We want everybody else, in case they didn't notice, that you were selected by Dave Campbell. We've been pushing Tepper for weeks to get that out there. He finally did it. So
it's great for the coaches and the kids and the program, and just speaks again about what we've been talking about, these kids.
Yeah. Okay, one more week of district. Plano East coming to town, and they lost a heartbreaker last night.
24-23 to McKinney.
They were lined up to kick a 45-yard field goal as time was expiring, and they missed it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw my interaction with Professor Diggs, but he was sad, so we said, sorry, little buddy, and he came back with, well, next week, and I don't know if you know the history of Diggs. Plano East has never beaten Allen, and Diggs has said if they ever beat Allen, that he is going to go on the field and streak. So his response to me was, well, next week we're either going to the playoffs or I'm getting arrested. So I told him.
I did not know that history, and for multiple reasons, I pray that they're not going to the playoffs. But that is the reality. They're and they've just fallen. And I haven't seen. I knew that happened in the game, but I haven't seen anything about it. Did talk to their coach last night. I think he does a great job. Good friend, and I think that they certainly are not going to go in and say, "Oh my gosh, that was our opportunity." This is their Super Bowl. To have a chance to extend it, and that's kind of like we said on learning opportunities after a victory. That's exciting for us going into Week 10, knowing that there's a lot of meaning to that game. So it'll be a good short week with a lot riding on the game.
Yeah. So just so you know, if you don't want to see him streak, you gotta be.
Yeah.
Got to play better than we did last night.
There are consequences. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's a Thursday night game. Let's remind everybody, Thursday night.
That's right. Thursday night. Yeah.
So we've got to adjust schedules accordingly.
Yeah. Take Friday off. Come to the game. Don't blow it off, fans. We need all the people cheering. Need everybody out there.
So based on everything that happened last night, though, doesn't that lock you in playing Louisville first round of the playoff?
I haven't looked to see if it's for sure. I think probably, but I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't looked for sure. I don't know. I don't know all the scenarios. I really just try to pay attention to what affects us, and I know enough to know that Plano East beats us, they're in, and that's all I need to hear. So, right now we'll try to get ready for that one, and then we'll at some point over the weekend I'll have somebody look at the scenarios and see if we're needing to make calls in terms of who and where and what and all that. But it seems from what they're saying that it would be Louisville, but I haven't looked enough to say if that's for certain.
But we'll talk more about that next week when we'll get there.
Yeah. And regardless, we've got a home field advantage for the first round of the playoffs. So
thank you for that.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah, I do. And I'm not positive on that, but I do think that's the case after last night. But
we'll call it. You don't have to. We'll call it. All right, Coach. You went 4-1 last week, which was a very good week. UCF let you down against BYU.
Yeah.
The problem is that Chris and I both went 5-0, so you lost the game there. So you and I are tied at 30-15 for the year. Chris has got a 3-game lead on us. He's 33-12.
Wow.
And then poor Hargis. He's trying everything he can to catch up, but he went 4-1 also, but he's 27-18. So
I think he got a little emotional on some of those picks, maybe.
Yeah. Chris Cumnock, I sent him a message when I sent him the picks for this week, and I said, "You're pretty good at this." And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You know what?" He goes, "I think if you and I beat Hargis and Wigginton, that they should let us call a series in one of the playoff games this year."
Yeah.
Wow.
You got it.
That was Chris's idea, not mine.
Don't answer that phone call.
Yeah. All right, some pretty interesting games this week that I picked for you. First one, undefeated Pitt coming to SMU. Ooh. And SMU's pretty good.
Yeah, and I know nothing about Pitt. Like when you say the words undefeated Pitt, that just doesn't seem to fit.
You can think of Tony Dorsett. And
No.
Dan
Yeah.
Marino, right?
No.
Yeah. I'm just going to go SMU because I know they're pretty decent this year, and I really like Coach Lashley and what they do over there, and
Okay.
Yeah, if
I think
there's
they'll find a way to pull it out.
any bad calls, they're going to throw a bunch of Dom Perignon bottles on the field.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty good.
You okay there, Coach?
Speaking of drinking, the world's largest cocktail party down in Jacksonville, Florida at Georgia.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, Georgia.
Yeah. Florida's been playing better, but
They are playing, but I agree.
Not good enough.
It's really sad. It's just sad. That I don't know if the coach survives it, but you have some changes at quarterback and all this stuff, and and maybe the toughest schedule in football.
Yeah. Because they get done with that and they go to Texas next week, so it doesn't get any easier for them.
Well, and for Florida, give Josiah our condolences.
No.
I know he's a big Florida fan. So.
We will.
We'll fight him. Another interesting game, and I didn't know this until I heard on Sports Center or on Game Day this morning. Oregon's at Michigan, and Michigan has actually won 25 of their last 26 home games, with their only loss being to Texas.
Wow.
So they get Oregon this week.
And they're minus 14.5 on the,
we're
on
not
the
doing
Vegas
it
line. I'm just saying.
Wow. 25 of 26.
Oregon.
Man. And the problem is, I haven't watched a down of Oregon this year, but I'm just not sold on them.
Wow.
I haven't watched Michigan, but I certainly am not sold on them. But is that home field? Man, I kind of think that this might be the game that, I'm taking Michigan.
All right.
Let's get a ref and flip a coin.
I like it.
Better you take chances on your pick here than anything next week.
Yeah.
So, we're good.
Okay, Ole Miss travels to Arkansas.
That is another interesting game.
Arkansas played better last week. Ole Miss took care of Oklahoma. That defense of Ole Miss is really good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'll take Ole Miss, but Arkansas is that other one that just kind of been doing pretty decent this year. But I'll take Ole Miss.
Okay. And the game of the week in the Big Ten and nationally, Ohio State travels to Happy Valley to play Penn State.
Yeah, I will take Ohio State. Just don't know. Just don't. Penn State's got to win one of those games before I would pick them in one of those.
I was about to say the same thing. It's that time of year where Penn State comes in undefeated and they cannot beat a big opponent.
No.
All right, got you down. You're locked and loaded. Let's go to Vegas. All right, Coach, we appreciate your time as always, and again, congratulations on a district title, and we look forward to seeing you again on Thursday night.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing y'all. Thank you, and again, thank you for the way y'all love these kids, and y'all have a great week.
Thank you, Coach. We'll talk to you later.
Okay. All right. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. There he goes. He said everything that we wanted to say much more eloquently than we can say it.
Yeah.
And I think
our coach speak is really rusty.
Well, I don't know if it was so much coach speak as it was the reality of the situation.
Yeah, our eloquence button
He
is
answered our
broken.
questions
Yeah.
that we were going to ask, and there's nothing to say.
Yeah, and he
A little bit measured, but that's fine. You expect that.
He's not going to call somebody out like one night.
No.
But in a way, if you listen to him when he mentions drop passes, you know who that was.
Yeah.
When you have a quarterback underthrow,
When they know who that was, yeah.
When you know penalties,
Yeah.
you know who that was.
Yeah.
When one player has 4 penalties in a game, you know who that is.
And have we not all had really crappy, terrible, no good, horrible weeks? Horrible days?
Yeah.
We have.
Yeah.
So, and what do? You got to overcome. Plow through it.
There you go.
Well, it's the only way past it is through it. Let's go.
Let's go.
Take the toilet paper with you.
There's that one play in the second half where there was a holding and they got backed up to like 1st and 25.
25.
And then they converted it
In
in
2
two
plays,
both
yeah.
on the ground. It's just like,
I turned to Cody and Justin and said, "See, they got 1st and 25. It's no big deal."
Yeah.
On the ground, no less.
yeah. So
It's
there's
like,
a lot of overcoming last night.
Exactly. And I meant to ask Coach, at first if they were kind of just challenging the offensive line by doing those interior runs, but, I'll just leave it to the imagination.
Like, well,
Yeah. Hey.
we'll run through this because we obviously want to put the kids' highlights in this.
Oh, yeah.
Through, but
Absolutely.
Allen loses a toss. They get the ball first. They kick off, and boy, panic on the kickoff because he pooch kicks it, and Isaac doesn't get to it. He lets it bounce, and it bounces really high. And you're like, oh my gosh, is he going to get it before he gets creamed? And he actually got it.
Yeah, he just does.
And he returns it 33 yards, and I think he got hurt on that play. He
Yeah.
was on crutches
Yeah.
the rest of the night.
Yeah.
But the Dallas Morning News needs to get their head out of their butt and realize that Caleb Smith has not played all year. Because every time they see number 3, they put in Caleb Smith in their rundown. So, anyhow, it wasn't Caleb. He returns the ball 33 yards. I thought he might score. So they take over at McKinney Boyd's 42, and they rush for 1 yard, then the first false start happens. Jeez. An incomplete pass, Brady rushes for 6, and then on 4th and 8, they go for it, and they do not get anything.
We did that twice, didn't we? Turnover on downs? Or was that last week?
That was last week.
That was last week. Yeah. Good.
McKinney Boyd gets the ball, and I meant to ask Coach about this. It was interesting to see McKinney Boyd's philosophy, at least in the first quarter, was to do what Allen did last week and try to get to the edges with their receivers and their quarterback, and there was nothing.
No. They shut them down.
They could not throw the ball. They could throw the ball horizontally.
Yeah, there were some good throws against our
They would catch it.
screen coverage.
But
Yeah.
our guys' tackling was on spot last night.
Yeah.
And on second down, Wafer steps right in front of a little
Yeah.
pass to the
Perfect
flat.
little curve, jump the route, boom.
Returns it 35 yards.
And instead of putting a move on the guy, he just bowls right over.
He decided I'm going to bulldoze you.
He just said, hey, look, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm just going right in your face.
Exactly.
Good job. I love that.
On the next play, Brady throws a dime. I mean, he put this past the only place Donnell could catch it.
And the only highlight I didn't get, sorry. Bad me.
Sorry, Donnell. Sorry, Brady.
I'm sure they've seen it in 5 different...
I'll find it somewhere else.
5
Maybe
different
drop it in
views.
there, but no highlight on that one. So Allen goes up 7-0. Boyd gets the ball. 5 plays, so negative 2 yards. They take over at their own 49. 7 plays, 51 yards. And Spriggs goes 16 yards for a touchdown.
Nice.
Linden,
was on last
we've
night.
decided is our offensive player of the game. So Linden, you'll be getting a magnet on your locker.
Magnet. Yeah.
He ended up with 10 for 152 last night.
That's all right.
He did okay.
Yeah.
It'd be okay if he repeats that a few more times.
Yeah. So good for Linden having a good night. Boyd gets the ball. They go 3 and out. Allen takes over, goes 5 plays, 63 yards. This time Mackay's in there and goes 29 yards for a touchdown to make it 21-0 with 5 minutes left in the first quarter. So we're back to old Allen days of let's get this over with really
How many
quick.
plays? Let's do it. Let's go.
So it's 21-0. Boyd has to punt again, still in the first quarter. At this point, Allen,
the world's tiniest punter.
he was a little bitty guy. Both their kickers were really small. I don't know if it was it the same guy?
No.
Okay. Allen takes over at their own 10. 2 rushing plays yield 0 yards. They get another false start penalty. Brady rushes for 5 yards on 3rd and 14. They punt. Ethan Nava shows up for the first time in however many weeks.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him.
Performance pressure and
26-yard punt. McKinney Boyd takes over on the Allen 37. They run 2 plays, and then the quarterback cuts back on I don't know, was it a read option or what, but he cuts back against the grain.
sees a hole.
Everybody was going the other way.
Yeah.
Everybody was going left, and he cut back to the right and scores to make it 28-7. Allen responds with a 13-play, 65-yard drive. The first play, they overcome a holding penalty. 1st and 20. We talked about 1st and 25. They completed a 1st and 20. And this is where the middle of the field started really opening up for the Eagles on the passing route. And Donnell runs a post, and from where we were sitting, he caught it. And I told Cody, I said he's going to score because he caught it like on the 20. Yeah. And you could just see the corner was way behind. The safety was too deep, and the corner coming from the other side wasn't going to get there for the safety. And it was just like he's going to score, and right at the gut.
Gotta go.
done.
Gone.
38
yards to make it 28-10 or 28-7. Boyd comes back with a 16-play, 71-yard drive for a field goal.
Yeah.
Argus is on the hot seat.
Yeah. Argus gave up 10 points.
Running around shirtless.
Allen responds with a 5-play, 72-yard drive. And I don't know if it was the exact same play call that Donnell just scored on, but it looked like it. And Carter Harris is running it this time. Same thing, post to the center of the field, and he hits him. Carter scores from 47 yards. You go in at halftime, and it's 35-10. And you're like, okay, I'm calling game over at this point. Let's see what happens.
Sure.
And again, you want to see what happens because of everything Coach was saying. It hasn't been perfect. And again, it'll never be perfect.
No.
But there was enough there to say, okay, there's some stuff that can be cleaned up in the second half.
Yeah.
Boyd comes out. They get the ball first. And they throw an interception. I think he overthrew his receiver and LeBron intercepted it. He gets awful happy when he makes an interception.
Hey, I'm happy too.
He comes running across the field.
That was crazy good interception, though. Athletic, went up one-handed grab, tucked it.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
Yeah, Braun can play. He did a lot of kick returning last night too with Isaac hurt too. So with LeBron. Eagles go 5 plays, 29 yards, capped off by a 2-yard touchdown run by McKinney. Makes it 42-10. The Broncos respond. They go 92 yards.
Yeah.
12 plays, settle for a field goal.
Ouch.
Yeah.
You know, I
It's like finding a hair in your milkshake.
You never wonder what's going on in coaches' minds, and I guess it's one of those cases where it's 4th and 10 at the 25. You're down,
significantly
42-10. Do you really need to practice field goal kicking at this point?
This team does not.
Yeah. No, their field goal kicker was fine.
Yeah.
So, but they kick a field goal. I'm like, I don't know what that tells your team. We're just going to settle for field goals as opposed to trying to go for it. The Eagles respond with a 10-play, 65-yard drive, capped off by another touchdown pass to Carter. I give Brady some credit on this one. The pocket kind of collapsed on him.
Yeah.
And he stepped up and he moved to the right.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Carter and I was like screaming, he's open, he's open, he's open.
He hit him. He
got him. And so 12-yard touchdown pass for Carter's second of the night. Allen goes up 49-13. Boyd responds again with another field goal.
Yeah.
11 plays, another 92-yard drive.
Yeah.
So it's 49-16. Allen goes 6 plays, 75 yards, 60 of that coming on a really nice run by Lyndon Spriggs. 60 yards. He went up the gut.
Yeah, there were some good moves.
And then it was just...
Between him and McKay, man.
I'm going to outrun everybody.
Leaving broken ankles all over the field, man.
He did have a couple last night.
That was...
He was picking up the Hamburg
on our
from the week
sideline.
before,
Man.
So, for those of you wondering about Hamburg, he'll be back next week. He took a week off.
Yeah.
Little minor technical injury issue. He should be fine. So they kept him out. They didn't need him, and so he'll be back next week. Boyd punts on the next series, and Allen goes 7 plays, 58 yards.
Shocking.
Jaden Moon.
Jaden Moon.
I love watching this kid run. He ran earlier in the year on a 32-yard touchdown run, and I still remember it. And I was like, "Oh, Jaden's back in there." It's very unstable having number 86 in your backfield.
Yes. Yeah.
But
he was juiced up, man. He was ready to go.
He had a 10-yard rush, and then he had a 17-yard touchdown run, which was a thing of beauty. He had great vision to get where he got to the end zone. A 17-yard touchdown to make it 63-16, and that is the way the game ends. 513 yards of total offense for this team. They're one of the top offenses in the area. Before last night's game, I saw that they had only given up 94 points all year, and there was nobody even close in the area.
Yeah.
That had given. I think the Summer Creek team out of down yonder in Houston was the only other team that had given up less than 100 all year. That defense plays really well. Again, if you hold, they scored 16, but 3 field goals. If you hold teams to field goals, you're going to win a lot of games.
Yep.
Especially with this offense. So, 63-16 the final. They moved to 9-0 on the year, 7-0 in district. They win district for the first time since. When was the last time they won district?
2021?
2020 or 2021?
4 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit. Congratulations to the kids and the coaches on that.
Yeah.
We had some fun moments we haven't talked about yet.
Which were?
There was a flag on the play the first half.
What?
And all the refs are standing around waiting for it to be called out. Finally, the announcer goes, "There's a flag on the play." And you see the head ref, he's looking around, he's looking for the flag, and then it's finally like, "Oops, it's mine. It fell out of my pocket. There it is at my feet. Let me pick that up."
Which was very funny because he didn't know he was looking around. He was looking around, and then he started doing a circle.
Flag on the play. Which one of my guys is?
And then what got me, if you watched him, he stuffed that thing so far down his pants.
No, it's like, dang, man, where are you putting that?
It's going to come down your pant leg if you stuff it any further.
The old
inadvertent flag there. Just fell out of his wherever he kept it. That was pretty funny.
There was the student section chanting "overrated" while down big.
That happened in the first half.
Yep.
But they did do something funny in the third or fourth quarter.
At the end of the third quarter,
the Boyd student section.
Yes. Started the "I believe that we will win" chant down like 40 points.
When they kicked a field goal, they were like, "I believe that we will win." That was very funny. I got to give them kudos for being creative.
Yeah. Delusion comedy.
Delusional comedy.
Yeah, a little both.
That was pretty funny. I did give him credit. Got Ginger over there.
I don't think they were trying to be funny.
No.
We thought it was.
But good on the 16 of them for showing up and being loud.
Yeah, that was true. There weren't a whole lot of them.
No.
So, Plano East, Thursday night, 7 o'clock at the... We need to come up with a good name for our stadium. We need to come up with one, not anybody else.
The Crack House.
I don't know if we want to carry that on.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind.
That's always me.
Krakatoa?
It's our challenge for the week to come up with something.
Eagle Nest.
The Kraken.
Kraken. That's Seattle's hockey team.
Yeah.
We can't steal that.
Can't do the 12th man.
As I said, we got to come up with something original. There you go, subscriber. Okay. Anybody listening, come on, let's come up with something. We need to find a name.
Original, provocative, funny.
Something.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Oh, I got trivia.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
According to Max Preps,
Uh-oh.
the longest losing streak in high school football history is ongoing currently.
Ooh.
How many games is it?
All right, let's back up. What state?
Alabama.
Oh, I'm guessing it's over 100.
I used to live in Alabama.
Over 100 games?
It's not over 100 games.
I'm going
okay.
to say it is 67 games.
67?
83.
83.
Alabama. Is it Dothan? The
No.
Dothan Dozers?
It is Conroe of Alabama.
Conroe of Alabama. Never heard of him.
Not Conroe the Woodlands.
No.
Any guess, James?
No. I have no. I'm clueless.
It was 87, so
Go David, go.
pretty close.
Way
So,
to go.
you know, whenever we lose a game, just be thankful that your team has not lost
87.
87 in a row. That's over 10 years without.
Where you're waiting, you're working to win a game, and when you do, it's like the world is ending.
Yeah.
They had a great quote from a junior who was like, "I just want to win a game."
Yeah. It's like Corby's go. I just want to
Was
see
it
the
like
touchdown.
2A or 3A or what?
Oh, I don't know.
Around the district last night,
Some tight games. Some,
McKinney beats Plano
Important
East
games.
24-23, puts McKinney in the playoffs. Rock Hill beats Plano. I was kind of surprised by that. And Prosper simply got their act together in the second half and annihilated Princeton 84-41.
Yeah, there's no D in our district.
Yeah. So it comes down to Plano East and Rock Hill for the last playoff game. If Rock Hill beats McKinney and Plano loses to Allen, Rock Hill will be in.
Right.
And if they both win, then Plano East will go. If they both lose, what happens if they both lose? Rock Hill, are they both 4-3? Who won that game between Plano East and Rock Hill? I think Rock Hill did because they went on the tiebreaker. That's why Diggs was saying that.
Yeah. Suicide watch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's not that serious.
No, he'll be all right. Don't forget to set your clocks back this weekend, tomorrow.
Plano East
Sunday?
beat Rock Hill.
Plano East beat Rock Hill.
Okay.
So
if they both lose, Plano East is in.
yeah. So you got to pray for, if you're Diggs, you got to pray for McKinney to beat Rock Hill. So Rock Hill's fighting for their lives. If they win, they're in.
Come on, McKinney.
Because I'm saying Allen's going to beat Plano East.
Don't let the professor down.
Yeah. One other thing we want to talk about briefly here, just, Tuesday is election day. Early voting stopped yesterday here in
Friday.
Texas. So if you haven't voted yet, make sure you go vote on Tuesday. Have your say in the matter. This bond issue, I think we all collectively agree that you should vote yes on this bond. There's a lot of, there's people who vote no, and we understand their reasons for it.
There's a lot of different reasons too, and
everybody has a different viewpoint on it.
They're not informed.
Yeah, a lot of it is misinformation, and I don't know. I get twisted a little bit with people who put out false stuff that you have to go correct, and then they ignore the fact that they were incorrect and just find more false stuff to say. Or, I don't know. To me, it's bigger than me.
oh yeah,
This whole issue of passing stuff for your city, for your community, and there's a lot of people who hold grudges and who have issues with the district, And those are the people that are vocal about it. And because they do that, you know, they're saying no, and they want everybody
Kids
to
are suffering for it.
And there's
Right.
a lot of things.
So let's do the other side. What's the reason you should vote for this bond?
What's the first thing you should think of? Oh, is it good for the kids?
Yes.
Vote for it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Every school in the district is going to receive something from this. Okay? I've seen it. I've talked to the people who put it together. I've spoken to many people about it. Every school will be touched in some way. It's 81 people were on this committee, you know, and I trust 81 people can come together and come to, and I'm sure everything that was suggested was not put into this bond package. There's certain things there's a reason that everything was put on there. Whether you like it or not is a different story. You know, the biggest thing, and we will have this argument until it passes, relates to this multi-purpose athletic facility that people just, for whatever reason, don't feel that the district needs. Where if you get informed about its use and what it's for and who's going to be able to use it, you know, when you're looking at
all the kids, all the teams,
anywhere between 1,000 and 2,000 kids will be using that facility, you know. And I get, well, not everybody's using it, so we don't need it. Well, then we shouldn't have built the PAC, and we shouldn't have built the culinary center, we shouldn't have built the extra gymnasiums, we shouldn't have built tennis courts. I mean, you can make that argument about anything, you know, because not every kid is going to use everything. It's just the way it is, you know. And so that's a poor argument to me, is because not every kid uses it. But when you've got 33% of your kids that do, then
plus it's a small percentage of the bond package. Anyways,
that's one of the things, and that's one of the frustrations.
There's a lot of stuff in there: critical school repairs, critical school repairs,
technology, security,
and you know, Ford is in desperate need of repairs, and Ford is in desperate need of a track. You know, and I don't know why people cannot see that. You know, and those kids have been bused to the Lowry Freshman Center for years because they don't have a track to run on.
Think about the money you'll save by doing some of these things. You put off repairs, they only get more expensive.
And that's where they're at.
You pay me now, you pay me later, you're going to pay.
It's just like being a homeowner, you know, and I will say this to everybody out there, you know, okay, my taxes are going to go up, you know, yeah, they might, but it's not as a result. And again, there's a big argument about how that whole financial thing works. You know, if the district holds their rate flat, the only reason your taxes are going to go up is if your valuation goes up, which you can fight, you know, to a certain degree. And the districts, well, you know, they have the rates after that. Yeah, because they have to get enough money to be able to operate the schools that are in place. They have to have that. Yeah, they're operating at a deficit. Sure. What school district in Texas is? Most of them are.
Yeah.
Money's being held back by the state. We all know that. You know, if you're worried about your taxes go up when these bonds come out, go buy a bond. You know what?
And if you got a personality conflict with some leadership,
get over it.
Get over it. This is not about the leadership. It's about the kids.
Go sit down with those people face to face.
Dare you.
And work it out. I was telling my wife yesterday, I said, you know, we moved to Allen in 95.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say 56.
Not that old. And
before Central was a high.
My kids went kindergarten through high school. At any time I had an issue with anything or I want to discuss anything, I've never had anybody tell me, no, we're not going to talk about it. And I've sat down face to face everybody from the superintendent to the teacher to a principal to SROs, everybody. And it's always been, we'll work it out. And it may not get worked out the way I want it to, but I've never had anybody not discuss it with me. It's to sit out there and just badmouth people and call people names that you have never even met or even talked to, you know.
Over some perceived slight or some perceived, you know, vendetta.
It's ridiculous. Because, again, the end of the day, all you're doing is hurting every kid in that district by not helping these bonds pass. Now, if y'all want to talk to us about any of this, we're not hard to find.
Nope.
You know, you can send us a message here. You can send us a message anywhere. We'll be glad to sit down and talk to you face to face about it. You know, I'm not going to get in the online discussion with you about it because that's ridiculous. But if you want to come see any of us, feel free to do so.
Yeah, because next Thursday night it'll be too late at the tailgate.
Yeah, it'll be past time. You know, and I don't want you to come by gloating because if it doesn't pass, I don't want to hear, you know, don't be a gloater. just like we're not going to be gloating if it does pass. We'll be happy that it did, or we'll be sad that it didn't, but we're not going to gloat about it. So anyhow, do your civic duty. At least vote, and that way your voice is heard. So I saw in the paper this morning, Dallas Morning News, that 54% of the registered voters in Collin County had already voted. So that's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So anyhow, anything else, fellas? We'll get off the soapbox here.
No, we're going to go to Fan Jam tonight.
Fan Jam.
Yeah, Fan Jam. Come to Fan Jam.
Basketball
Fan Jam.
They won't hear this till tomorrow.
Yeah, they won't. Fan Jam. The
God, we had such fun. It was a great time.
The Allen boys are ranked number 1 in the state in 6A. Got a lot to live up to this year, so come out here and give Coach Cipolletta and the rest of the coaches and the players some support. The first game, I think, is November 12th. First game that counts. So that's 10 days away. So
Candy corn haters.
I love candy corn. Happy Halloween, everybody. Hope you had a good one. And remember, before you start Christmas crap.
Crap? Oh, it's already started.
There's
Christmas lights up everywhere.
I know.
We haven't even got through Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is first.
Well, Halloween was first, and they were up before Halloween.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. People suck. Thanksgiving. Be thankful before you start all this Christmas stuff.
Don't be a turkey.
Yeah, be glad you're not a turkey. So, anyhow, we appreciate you listening. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope you enjoyed the victory last night. And we'll see everybody Thursday. Tailgate starts at 2. We'll see you then. And until next time, it's over, and we are out.